In examining the distribution, we only need one variable, but in examining the relationship, we would need to have two variables. The variable that we are using to examine the relationship is called the explanatory variable. And the outcome of this examination is what we call the response variable. For example, does it help the student scores on the exam if they spend time studying for it? In this case, we are examining the relationship between the two variables. One is the student's score on the exam. This is the quantitative variable. The other one is the time. This is the number of hours students spend studying for the exam. It is also the quantitative variable. Oftentimes, we want to know which one is the explanatory and which one is the response. Most cases, it follows the chronological order. Which one comes first? Is it the time that you spend studying come before the score? In this case, yes. And so time would be the explanatory variable, and it is used to predict or estimate the student score. In this case, the relationship is quantitative to quantitative because time is a quantitative variable and the score is also the quantitative variable. Another example, does race explain COVID vaccination rate? What that means is that is there a relationship between race and the vaccination rate? In this case, we are looking at two variables. One is the race, which is now we know it is a categorical variable, and the vaccination rate, which is the percentage, so it is a quantitative variable. Now, which variable do we use to make a prediction of which one? If we were to look at the race to see what percentage of the vaccination rate is, then the race in this case would be an explanatory variable. It is used to explain. And the race is going to be the response variable. And also, race is a categorical variable, and the race is the quantitative variable. Another example, how do students feel after receiving their letter grades? In this relationship, we are looking at the student outlook about the letter grades. Now, which one do we use to predict which? The student would feel either happy or not happy after they receive the letter grade. So in this case, the letter grade is the explanatory variable, and it will predict the student feelings or outlook. Now, the letter grades are A, B, C, D, F, so this is a categorical variable, and whether the student feel happy or not happy, this is also the categorical variable. So in this case, we have a relationship between two categorical variables. And so when we examine the relationship, there are four cases. Either it is quantitative to quantitative, quantitative to categorical, categorical to categorical, or categorical to quantitative variable. The variable on the left is called the explanatory variable, and the variable on the right is called the response variable. This is also known as the role type classification. The role is either it is an explanatory or the response. The type of the variable is it categorical or quantitative. And so there are two roles and two types. We would end up with four cases. Depend on the case, we would use different statistical features or procedure to examine them.